Hello, friends. This is the story of Oriel and the Echo of Mistakes. Long ago, high up in the mountains lived a wise old owl named Oriel. Now, Oriel was very good at his job of being an owl. He could hunt in the darkest night, and he was so silent. But he had a problem. He kept replaying his past mistakes over and over in his head. Mistakes whispered, "You are us," but Oriel knew a whisper isn't truth. One day, Oriel was perched on his favorite branch when a thick fog rolled in. As he watched, shapes began to form in the fog. And they were all his mistakes. There was the time he'd chosen the wrong tree to build his nest. And his owlets had fallen out. There was the time he'd argued with a friend over nothing. And there was the time he'd been too afraid to speak up for himself. All these mistakes were whispering to him, trying to convince him that he was a failure. Then something amazing happened. Oriel looked down and saw a small pond in the mist. He hopped down onto a stone and stared into the water. At first, he saw only sorrow reflected back at him, but then something incredible happened. The sorrow lifted and the reflection grew calm. That's when Oriel knew the past as a teacher. Not a prison, every mistake, a signpost toward wisdom. From that day on, Oriel made a new choice. Whenever he saw a mistake whispering to him, he would look for the lesson and write it down on a little piece of paper. Then he would fold the paper into a tiny bird and release it into the wind. Sometimes the words on the birds were forgive, learn, release. And with each bird that flew away, the mist in his heart grew thinner. Not long after, young owls began to gather at his tree to learn about the world. And Oriel would tell them stories of his adventures, not as a perfect owl, but as a real one who had made mistakes. And the young owls would listen, their eyes wide with wonder and respect. Because they saw that Oriel had learned from his mistakes and become even stronger because of them. One day, Oriel flew above the forest and the mist cleared. For the first time in a long time, he could see the sun shining through the trees. He could feel the wind beneath his wings. And he knew. Mistakes don't erase your worth. They shape it. You are more than your stumbles. You are what you learned. And that is power. And if you've ever carried the weight of your past, like and subscribe. And let Oriel remind you, you are more than your mistakes.